Chugga Chugga Hall of Fame! Fame! And the world know your name. What's the actual one that WWE do? Hello and welcome to Sam's on Wrestling and our brand new positive series. This is the Sam's Hall of Fame. I am your host, Sam, and I'm joined by Baby Sam. Hello.
I feel like we're underdressed for this ceremony. Compared to a Hall of Fame ceremony, I don't feel like we're quite...
Do you know what? You're absolutely right. There we go. And much better and much dressed for the Hall of Fame.
I feel like I could go to court in this. You know what I mean?
Do you know what? I've seen a lot of England fans do a lot of bad things, and this is probably what they look like in a court, probably in whatever World Cup's happening at the time. Anyway, welcome to our brand new positive series. This is where we will introduce a match, then a segment, then a moment that we are going to add to our Hall of Fame. What we represent is our Hall of Fame. It doesn't have to be, by the way, the best match of all time. It doesn't have to be the best moment. Sometimes it can be really bad, and you just want to remember it forever. Essentially, I see this as like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know, but I also see it as like, you know, those vaults they wear, where they take like Jurassic Park and they go, we're going to put this in a vault, so this will never, ever get deleted. It will be forever. Yes. That's how I see it. We're going to take these matches or these moments or whatever in a vault, and they stay forever. So thank you for joining us. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. What matches, what moments, and what segments are in your Hall of Fame? What would you want to keep forever? So we're going to kick off, and we're going to add our first ever match to the Hall of Fame. And I would like to start.
Go on.
So the first match I would like to... I'm going to do a very, very famous one that I know is in your hearts. It's in mine. I wanted it to be the first one added for a reason. I'm going to add John Cena versus CM Punk at Money in the Bank 2011.
Even when you say it, my heart it sprinkles. It just lightens up.
It's Dave Meltzer's first 5-star in WWE for like a billion years. But I don't care for that one. This match, this rivalry is the reason I am probably doing this. I'd stopped. I was vaguely keeping in touch. I'd watched the WrestleManias at university, but Raw was bad, SmackDown was worse. I wasn't interested. And then CM Punk cuts that promo, and I'm in. It locks me in. Sam, I watched this live.
I envy
and
you
I mean
so
live. I was there 1 a.m. in England watching this because I had to see what was going to happen. And by the way, the pay-per-view was amazing on top of it. But this match, they called it in the ring. We didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if Punk had signed or not. The ending, we all thought Del Rio was actually going to cash in and that was going to be the end of it. He didn't. Go through the crowd. This match means so much to me, and I reckon it means so much to you that it has to be the first ever thing into the Sam's Hall of Fame.
I couldn't agree more. It's what got you back into wrestling, and it's what kept me into wrestling as I was about to drift out at about 11 years old.
11-year-old is a dangerous year when people start saying it's fake and you start growing up and you kind of do a bit of peer pressure.
Yeah, and I was... And at WWE, you have to think, early 2011, we were in the pits of despair. And that's why the pipe bomb was so well timed, because it just communicated what so many fans
we believed
thought.
In it.
Yeah, and... no one knew, even the smart fans did not know at that time what was going to happen.
Well, they signed the contract that day.
It became like watching a sport, but it was also, it meant something. It represented everything that the fans were feeling. It just perfectly hit the zeitgeist of that time.
We wanted Punk to win. And then to be in Chicago. Like, that was the first time that Chicago properly punked it.
Yeah.
There may have been moments beforehand where they kind of celebrated him, but this was a RVD, ECW level response. It wasn't even hatred for Cena either.
No.
This was a hatred for the company, hatred for the corporate. This match is my nomination, and I assume it would have been one day a nomination for yourself.
It's my probably up there next to Shawn Michaels Undertaker favourite match of all time, but probably favourite storyline of all time. Yeah.
So there you go. Our first ever match into the Hall of Fame is John Cena, CM Punk, Money in the Bank 2011. Sam, what match would you like to nominate to officially be in the Hall of Fame?
Now, it's hard to follow that.
It's going... I mean, this is our big... That's why I wanted it to be our number one.
Yeah. So I've gone with a less obvious one, because I think it's quite interesting to throw this one in, but I don't think this gets enough appreciation for how amazing and groundbreaking this was. SummerSlam 2014, Brock Lesnar, John Cena.
Wow, that's a great nomination.
I love this match, and I think it's so different to everything, and you did not expect this at all. Brock's just fresh off of breaking.
We've just done back-to-back Cena matches.
I know.
John Cena, Hall of Fame. Well, there you go.
He's done all right. This was perfect. It came at the right time, just towards the end of Cena's proper big main event run. It was the end.
He kind of started.
It signified the end, and it was perfect because Lesnar had just beaten the Undertaker, and you needed him to keep that momentum going. Whether you agreed with the decision or not, you needed him to be a monster, and this was uncomfortable. This is what the Extreme Rules match, I think, should have been, in hindsight, really. But it was perfect. It was because you get so Cena gets beaten up, Super Cena, a lot of matches, and he comes back.
It's the longest squash in history.
Yes, he doesn't come back. He hits that one F5. Cena kicks out of it.
Oh,
no, it's F5. Cena kicks out, and then this Suplex City being born, but it wasn't overdone. It was relentless, and it was violent, but he never left the ring.
No.
And Cena never really... He won AA, never got going, and so he hits the AA, and Lesnar just sits up and laughs at him. It's unbelievable.
Brock needed that because he was booked terribly in WWE. Loses to Cena, loses to Triple H at WrestleMania 29. They'd failed him. They'd failed him. So him beating The Undertaker, he needed something else to signify you are now the beast. The final boss before The Rock did all that stuff. He was the last beast to do it. And doing that to Cena was the best thing. Sadly, we then got just a sea of part-time champion. But that match is up there with just people weren't expecting it. It's the best squash match in history. Yeah, I believe
it's so well done, and the pace of it is slow. There's that little kid who shouted, "Let's go, Cena!" And I'm so happy you didn't get vindicated.
Slow! It went like a dissection.
Yeah,
but not like a Kurt Angle or a Brett dissection. It was no, you're gonna get hurt.
That must have been such a painful match for Cena to go through. No wrestling match is comfortable, but he got German so many times.
Fair play to John and fair play to the booking team
and you know what I heard? It was Cena's idea.
And you know what? Hopefully that's I messed up the Nexus. I messed up Brock a year ago or 2 years ago. Let's do that here. Sam, I think that's a wonderful addition to Sam Hall of Fame. I think I would have added it in as well, and I'm glad that it's got the recognition early on in our series. So our second match added to the Sam's Hall of Fame is Brock Lesnar, John Cena, SummerSlam 2014.
Okay, so next up we have our next kind of wing of the Hall of Fame, which is our Moments category. So Sam, what would you like to induct into the Moments Hall of Fame?
Well, I've inducted the match that got me back into wrestling, and I would like to induct the moment that made me officially, I think, appreciate women's wrestling to a main event level. And it's Becky Lynch becoming the man. And that moment of her standing in the audience, covered in blood, after the end punch, and looking like a megastar. Because you got to remember, the build-up to this was they weren't going to main event WrestleMania. That was not on the plans at all. Becky wasn't even going to be. It was going to be Charlotte Ronda. And Becky had just turned at SummerSlam. Everyone cheered because everyone hated Charlotte. Charlotte was the heel in that. She stole in her moment, took the title, and then it was like that was a babyface response. Yeah. But she was still technically a heel here, but I think Becky knew very quickly that wasn't going to happen. Then they did the invasion, again, the Raw SmackDown thing, it actually was good. I've never been a fan of Raw versus SmackDown. I reckon it's been done twice good, 2005 and here. But that was the women's one. The women got the platform, which hadn't really happened in the Raw versus SmackDown. Then obviously Nia Jax, when she wasn't a good wrestler. I want to say on this point now, it's probably the first time we've mentioned Nia Jax, but I think she's been excellent since her return to WWE. I have nothing but appreciation for her. She's worked really, really hard. She is fantastic. But at the time, potatoed Becky, took her out of the Survivor Series match, which was the best thing that ever happened to her.
Yeah,
but that moment of her in the audience, covered in blood, not caring, that made me go, you should main event WrestleMania this year. Yeah. You should be the number one woman. She acted like it because Shawn Michaels, when they filmed what's that rubbishy Miz films, what are they called?
Marine.
Oh, the Marine 4. Yeah. Shawn Michaels was on it, or 5, whatever, they were on 6, whatever it was, and went, if you want to be treated like a star, you go and act like a star, and she did. And that moment, I think, will live long for me because we went and watched that WrestleMania in a bar, and I was tired by the time I got to Becky, but I was so delighted for Becky because that moment will always be something that just made women's wrestling go from we're now appreciating it to now you should focus on it and watch it to the extent. We'd had some great things before with Trish and Lita, and then we'd had the Women's Revolution in 2013 and all that jazz. But this was the moment that made them be able to do Rhea and Charlotte, Sasha and Bianca. This was the moment.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that's a great induction. And I also think it's wonderful that in the end, the first female WrestleMania event, you can say what you want about Charlotte, but that actually deserved to be the main event.
It was the main event.
There was always a danger of them going, we want to do it, to say that we've done it, and forcing in a match or a feud that wasn't actually the most interesting feud. And I know you can say Kofi, but I do think the females deserved to main event that.
Yeah.
But there was a danger of them shoehorning it in too early for the sake of it. This absolutely deserved to be the main event.
They had the number one star in the company.
Yeah. So couldn't agree more. And that was because of Becky.
And
mostly.
Becky
Ronda to an extent.
Ronda at the time was all right. You know, Ronda was good. We actually enjoyed Ronda at the time. But that moment, it's not the WrestleMania, in the crowd, covered in blood, not caring. That's my nomination. We happy with that?
I'm delighted with that.
Becky Lynch, covered in blood. Becoming the Man is my moment for the Hall of Fame. Sam, what moment would you like to add to the Hall of Fame?
So I've gone back and forth with a few, but this is one that is special to me. And I know this is one that you aren't as enthusiastic about.
Are we going to have our first nomination for one person that's going to be this is in the Hall of Fame, but more dominated by the other person, which is absolutely fine. It's the Sam's Hall of Fame.
I think you'll agree with it, but not as strongly.
Okay.
I am going with as my first moment nomination, WrestleMania 28, the kick out from Shawn Michaels switching music into a pedigree.
I will talk about that in future videos because I'm not a fan of this match. But I am a fan of that moment.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Fair enough.
I am absolutely...
Because I know I like this match a lot more than you do. I know you still think it's good. But I absolutely love this match. Because that Shawn Michaels and Undertaker story was my first wrestling feud that I was so invested in. I kind of started end of 08, beginning of 09. And that Shawn Michaels Undertaker thing is my childhood favourite feud, really.
And it's great.
Yeah. And essentially the story goes from 4 years.
It does.
You have
it does.
The 2 matches, then Triple H tries to avenge him, loses, and then the Hell in a Cell. And it's the culmination of that entire story from when I was about 8, 9 years old.
You also have to remember Undertaker barely appeared in those 4 years. So
exactly.
Even though it was 4 years, in reality it wasn't. He wrestled in the year 25 to 26 and then pretty much also disappeared with Shawn. So that made the matches even more special.
Yeah. I think this was the peak of the streak.
Yes, it was.
These matches. So to see, it's the irony of Shawn Michaels actually nearly ended up breaking the streak, and it was like one last attempt at him doing it. Sweet chin music.
The crowd believed.
Into the pedigree. Absolutely. It's the way the crowd reacts to it, and the time. Undertaker is one of the best people at kicking out of history. The timing of that in the last second, and he kicks out. The fans go mental. Shawn's reaction sells it so much.
Being upset, feeling like he let himself down as a referee, not being impartial and stuff.
But he just had that one moment of temptation.
Well, he got choked out, didn't he? He got Hell's Gate just beforehand.
So he reacted to that.
It's the crowd response, because I think when most people watched the streak, they were 90% sure that the Undertaker was going to win every time. But every single time they watched, there's always the element of, are you going to go with this one? And then when you put Triple H in the mix, you never know, do you?
And with
because you remember the tombstone from the year before when Triple H hits the tombstone.
That could have a spot as well.
People believed that. Yeah. So this had even more belief because there is a story there that could have ended it. I think I would have been really angry if it did. But
it's one of those because you're so invested in the match, you stop thinking logically, and you're invested in. You think, oh my god, this is going to happen. You don't step back and go, oh well, they're not going to do this, because the match has gotten you invested.
You're on the ride.
And that shows
You're
you
on the wave.
that a match has got you.
Yeah,
and that match
absolutely. I loved it. I think that's a great addition. No, I absolutely believe that is a great addition. We've got 2 huge WrestleMania buildy moment type things. I'm absolutely happy with that joining in. We've got the Undertaker kick out from Shawn Michaels Triple H pedigree super kick combination of WrestleMania 28. What a moment. Now we're going to add our segment. Now, my segment is kind of momenty, I will point out, but I think it felt like a segment. So the moment I would like to add, there is a segment in my eyes, but it happened in the middle of a match. Okay?
So it's all three, really?
But I think I'm adding it because they did it multiple times.
Okay.
So I'm going to go for it is a segment. It's too cool every time they dance together. And my moment I think about is... The segment, I think, is the Royal Rumble 2000. I know that feels like a moment, but it was 2 minutes long. It wasn't brief, it wasn't short. And I love Too Cool, Scotty 2 I love him to bits. He's my favourite. And the crowd in MSG went ballistic. I know you're not a fan of the Royal Rumble 2000.
PTSD.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But you might see that in a future video. But this moment, to me, this segment, was just something really, really, really special. The crowd went mad. And they repeated this segment, this moment over and over, and it became a segment with everybody joining in. So the reason I'm adding it to every single time they would do a dance segment with people involved. There was one with China. There was one at WrestleMania 20 when it was just Scotty and Rikishi. So the segment I'm adding is every dance break interlude where the lights just go down and they just dance with Too Cool. What do you think?
Loved Scotty 2
I loved Scotty 2
He's such a sophisticated man.
I
He's
know!
been a teacher. Let's not forget it. This man loves Scotty 2
Hey, if a kid did the worm in my classroom, I'm giving him a grade 7.
Oh, yeah. He loved a man with silly hair and a silly hat doing the worm. But I like that.
I tell you what, Sam, it's just watching it. I showed it to my girlfriend Ellie Mae, who hates wrestling, and I showed it to her sister, who's never seen wrestling at all, because we were talking about Rikishi at the time. And I showed them it because they didn't get what I was talking about. And they saw it. No, that is actually quite fun. No, I like that. Yeah. So even non-wrestling fans, not hated wrestling fans, were like, that's great. So are you happy with me adding some dancing to...
More than.
WrestleMania, WWE like dancing, so I think we should like dancing too. I'm adding any segment involving Too Cool, Rikishi, doing a dance interlude is my segment. Thank you very much. Sam, the final thing of this video, what segment? So remember, segment to a moment can be different. Mine are very similar, but a moment is like a brief thing. A segment is the whole kind of shebang. What is the segment you would like to add?
I could give you 50 guesses and you're not getting this.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah. This is... Maybe this shouldn't be the first inducted.
No, maybe the first.
No, I'm doing it. This is R-Truth.
Yeah?
Interrupting Brock Lesnar.
Yes!
And saying that he's going to basically eliminate Paul Heyman from the Royal Rumble.
Brock broke.
Yeah,
the joke was Paul Heyman said to R-Truth, can you make Brock laugh?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was. And R-Truth, I love R-Truth. I love this moment. I love this segment.
It's Paul Heyman's
so funny.
I laugh thinking about it. With wrestling and comedy, I will, most of the time, even if it's quite funny, you'll get out of me like that. I watched this on YouTube, I think, not knowing what it was going to be, and actually wet myself. I found that hilarious.
R-Truth might be one of the funniest wrestlers who's ever been.
Yeah, I almost wish he did more stuff with Paul Heyman, because that is such a great straight man and funny guy.
It was the funny thing of R-Truth comedy gimmick and Brock Lesnar. That's what made it something. If R-Truth does that same thing when he was with Curtis Axel, it's not the same thing. But because it's with the Beast incarnate, a monster, a guy who destroys everyone, that's what made it so funny.
That makes me smile. I was thinking of moments or segments to put in that made me smile, and I just thought, well, you know what, that's going in. It's just brilliant. It's comedic genius. Not much else to say.
I love it. No, it's in. I'm more than happy. R-Truth breaking Brock Lesnar and saying he's going to eliminate Paul Heyman is a segment that will go down in the Hall of Fame. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. What are your Hall of Fame moments? We would love to hear from them. Please put it in the comments below and we will see you next time.